Hello and welcome to Sim Strategy Gaming. I'm Sim. This episode will be about the sixth scenario of Railway Empire 2 Gold Rush. Looking at our mission objectives, we see that connecting 3 rural businesses to our networks, that just comes on right away. Producing 9 loads of clothing in Gold Beach via one of our factories. It's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And then we have to achieve an express status on the rail line between Gold Beach and Reading, which we will do like this. We're not starting out with that much money in the very beginning. So then I had to separate these lines. This extraordinarily long line from Bakers through Portland, Eugene, Gold Beach, Reading, Sacramento, that would be too long anyways. So then I made for this one line track here, Sacramento, Reading, and then a new one-liner connected to a different station at a different station in Reading to Gold Beach, where we're going to achieve our express status, and then a double here, so that they each go to different parts of the station. Here we can have more trains, one starting in Baker, one starting in Wilson, where we have a connection bonus. Very important to start these trains in the actual connection bonuses. And another last one here, starting in Gold Beach. Important to start them at different far away from each other as possible. One in the middle at Wilson, one in the end at Baker, and one on the other end at Gold Beach, so that all the cities are being served more or less evenly to make for a good even grow. We have to grow Gold Beach a bit in order to be able to put up a new factory. Don't want to demolish and buy up these breweries. That would be kind of expensive now here in the very beginning, and besides there aren't any demand for clothing yet, so we have to build up demand. The demand for clothing starts at 50,000, and none of our cities are even close to having that amount of citizens that fashion clothings are in demand. With our trains now, the best train that we have access to is this Philadelphia, a freight train. One might think that freight trains wouldn't be that good for passenger traffics or mixed traffics even, but we are going to achieve quite a bit of express statuses on this Philadelphia, and it is perhaps a little tinier bit slower than the Limmat, but have much more attractive power. And on this map, with all of these mountains and high inclines all over, the Philadelphia will do more than a decent job until we reach the next decade and have access to much better trains here. As soon as we cross this line into the 8050s, we will have access to a lot more nice, particularly this Tyson 10-wheeler is something to absolutely look forward to. We don't start out with a lot of money, but we will have access to all of these super nice connection bonuses. And as soon as we have these connection bonuses coming in, a good strategy would be to be paying back the loans that we already had, and then get much bigger loans due to that we have more company value. The higher our company value, the more loans we can get in the bank. So then, just a couple of months later, we've been having our connection bonuses rolling in, and no new mission objectives. You see that we acquire this express status between Gold Beach and Reading, but still some time to produce this clothing, as none of our cities are yet big enough to demand any. But I just wanted to show how I spent those connection bonuses and the little money that we had. Of course, doubling these tracks, very important to have tracks going back and forth, but now using Gold Beach as a hub in between here, so that there are 4 stations there, 2 platforms for the southbound direction and 2 platforms for the northbound direction from Gold Beach, trying to grow Gold Beach as fast as possible. This city is in the middle of something, whatever, circles or lines or crosses. They often grow much faster than the ones at the very end. But then we had set up warehouses. One warehouse here in Sacramento that picks up the goods around here. This line from Gold Beach, it goes all the way down to San Francisco now. But here in Gold Beach, there were need for a warehouse that picks up the corn, but also the wool. I could have made a direct line here, but due to the mountains, and as you can see, the road here is going, but then there's no need for anything extra. Sacramento is already needing the livestock coming in from down here from this Stevens, and Stevens picks up both wool and livestock. And then they can both go into Sacramento, and Sacramento already has a warehouse due to the corn resource, and then one can add a wool here as well. Even though sort of the best practice would be to have this factory only resources, livestock and wool going straight into the city with the little traffic that we are having now. There's no, okay, there's kind of, there is definitely some traffic, but not that much. So still there will be more efficient, cheaper, and cheaper is usually always better to use Sacramento as a hub here. And then with Gold Beach also being this hub distributing wheat up north, but not down south yet. Corn is on both sides. Oregon also picking up the corn here. Lumber on both sides of these 2 lines. We could make an extraordinarily long line going all the way back and forth, but I have mixed experiences with that, so make the lines not too long. Sugar, there's no sugar yet. There's only 1 sugar resource on this entire map, so sugar is really this is about as valuable as gold. Cloth on both sides, and then no need for milk or vegetables or fruit as of yet. So then, almost 9 months of gameplay, we've been able to achieve our mission objectives very soon. And we can see now that some of these cities have grown into becoming 50,000 or more. And after 40,000, then we've been able to to build a new factory, our own fashion factory in Gold Beach, where we will produce the clothing for the miners. Looking at, see that Eugene here particularly has grown into 50,000. Are there any others? No, I don't think so. So all of the clothing are going to Eugene, which is very central in the middle here, and has a lot of access to nice goods coming in, both corn, meat, cloth, has its own access to livestock, and then beer from Gold Beach, and then and lumber up here as well. And, really in the center of all these resources, you can see how fulfillment of demand is 87%. 2 green arrows, that really makes for a nice big revenue. I can point out that at these early stages of the game, we don't have access to the fantastic immigration office. But at least remember to build these libraries. They are a little bit more expensive, but absolutely well worth it. Now Eugene would have almost 100% fulfillment of demand, which is very nice. Looking at our trains, we see that we are using this Philadelphia freight train for mixed traffic, which is Philadelphia is being our main workhorse. But on these smaller lines, that often one train often is too much, so we have to make sure that it doesn't leave the station unless it has a minimum of 8 wagons, unless it's absolutely full. Then the Derwent is a good choice. Derwent is a very decent freight train. And this being our first actual freight train, it has low cost and it has low maintenance requirements and not too much consumption. On this map, on this mission, I have chosen to play as the professor. The professor has this very great drawback from passengers and mail. Passengers and mails being the most important income revenue. But then in the early game, before we get access to all this nice text that reduces the cost of pretty much everything, including locomotives, then to have all locomotives 60% cheaper, that comes in very handy and makes it so that we can expand much faster, particularly in the very beginning. So even though there are mixed feelings about the professor, if one plays before 1850, he's a very decent choice, I think. And besides, I like to alternate a little bit between what characters I play with. Now, in addition to this Southern California line that we built, still split here in Gold Beach, and we haven't done so much either here up north in Oregon either. Added upon a few extra resources, becoming some demand for vegetables. Fruit is also coming on, but at least get connected to this vegetable resource over here and connect that to Baker through a separate freight only one-liner. And now I use the Philadelphia, not the Derwent, because this line is so long and it includes 2 resources, and then I would rather have the best freight train doing that job. I might have done the same over here. Yes, this is also one of those Philly trains that takes on 2 resources and go back and forth and has more than enough to do. Here, also, yes, because there is so much to do with these 2 resources. But if there is, like here, there is only one, then actually I used the Philly there too. It doesn't matter that much, but one can save a little bit of money on using cheaper freight trains. What we have done with the money as of last, we haven't played for that long. So then I built upon this extra little line here, going into Nevada and connecting this Nevada line, Carson City and Bodie. Bodie being one of those cities that we need to grow in order to achieve the optional tasks. So it's very important to get hooked on to Bodie as soon as possible. It isn't growing that much yet, but it's growing a little bit. And just to have it started early, that makes a huge difference. So connected here, and then a double warehouse setup with all of these goods that one can see here being mirrored onto this warehouse, so that they can freely go from one warehouse to another. And we save on this little. This is sort of a free ride over here. Somebody else takes care of that, and we don't have to do everything with our trains. Looking at how the flow of goods then be moving. Wheat, now all the three different systems that we have, three liner system, all containing wheat, so no need for interchanging there. Corn is going on to the Nevada, actually from two warehouses, but that's not a problem at all as long as there isn't any conflicts. Lumber, the same, going from Southern California, Northern California actually, going from California to Nevada. Meat, all systems have their own meat. Only one brewery, so here in Gold Beach has to take care of all three systems in this manner. Sugar is still far off, as valuable as gold. And then the milk, I think we only have one set of milk down here, so that has to be redistributed all over like this. But one can see that not everybody is getting what they need. It's going to be a little bit hard. And then the vegetables, moving all the way also to two warehouses in order to reach all three zones. Can notice this, that even as we're using this very slow freight trains, might seem slow, they are still achieving the express bonuses because of the way that I built the line, and because still this freight train is the best train that we have access to, and there are not so much competition. Someone doesn't have to use the as long as one doesn't pick up on this Rensselaer immediately. If I did pick this one, and I think I have the invention points to access it, but if I now take this and do it, then all of the express statuses will be in danger. Then I have to change, and I don't want to change the trains because of the high incline. And this freight goods being particularly hard to drag uphill. There is certainly a hill here from Reading. This one, it's kind of steep, and the express trains will not be able to drive very fast. They will often come down to almost a grinding halt if they are dragging freight loads, and here as well. Too much of this, so then I rather not do that, and rather save up. It isn't so long now until we reach the 8050s, and then as soon as I have reached the 8050s, I will have all these invention points saved up, and then I can take the Rensselaer, of course, and then this condensation tender, and then also have the Tyson 10-wheeler. And the Tyson 10-wheeler, that can easily compete with the Rensselaer and achieve express bonuses. So might be sometimes be better to wait and not spend all the invention points right away. And so then, a little bit more than a year of gameplay, we've been able to properly develop Nevada here. Built a nice little circle, my favorite kind of structure, going round and around in both directions here. One clockwise and then one counterclockwise, still with Philadelphia, still saving up our invention points, and now having a lot of them, and being straight able to reach the Tyson 10-wheeler as soon as we pass the decade line and get access to new technology options. One very smart thing to do pretty much right away is to buy up this Marshall Mine. That is going to be one of our main mission objectives. It's a little bit expensive, but we are making some money. We're not going to get all of our money back because it's kind of expensive thing to buy, but still to have this Marshall Mine in our hands during the gold rush is, of course, a thing to do. Now Bodhi is been growing really nice. Wow, 100% fulfillment of demand. I just love to see that. And that's due to its both being connected to these two lines there. You can see now one line to Reading, the original one, and then a new one to Sacramento. That makes for some sort of a three-legged cross, of course, with an hotel here at the Stur that is busy, at least. There are people staying over there and mailbags being redirected. And now, as it used to be, with only that one line, there wasn't any passengers going from Sacramento to either Carson or Bodie. But now I believe that we made it so that we can go to Sacramento, to Carson City, even from Bodie. Seems a little bit long, but this line over here is less than half the distance over there. It doesn't, yeah. So passengers are going. So now we can refer to this as the Nevada zone, which is very nice. And then we have the California across there, and then this Oregon line. Soon later, I will make that into the Oregon zone, as we will see. Looking at a little bit more of the flow of goods, we can see that Nevada has its own wheat, so that's no problem. It also has its own corn. Now lumber. Now Sacramento and Reading can get lumber from two places at the same time. It gets distributed from Carson, and then there is no conflict there because there isn't any lumber in the warehouses. So then Reading can get lumber from this station, the westbound, and also the eastbound station, without there being any conflict. And of course, it's much better to have access to lumber from two different places, but one must then take care that not to set up one sets of lumber here and here. That will make for that awful crisscrossing tendency where this lumber resource between Reading and Sacramento will try to supply, say, Elko, and then this lumber resource north of Bodie will try to supply Reading and Gold Beach, and then there will be a back and forth tendency here, and these warehouses will be filled up from both sides, which will make for a mess. The game will not be able to handle that, and then will pile up with lumber that it isn't being picked up. And then, as we start the game, we can see that, yeah, gold miners have a need for jeans and other clothing. Of course, it's hard work to be doing gold mining, and one needs proper, not only tools, but also clothing for this. So then we have our next set of mission objectives. And now comes in handy that we have been able to focus properly on growing Bodhi. We see that we now have the task of making 11 different goods available in Bodhi at the same time, and also an optional task for reaching 120,000 citizens in Bodhi, which will be one of those tasks that are a little bit of a challenge. To have a balance of 700,000 per week, that just comes in right away. Actually, we don't. Yeah, I'm happy that we did that, but. Seems to me to be a little bit of a strange way of calculating it, since I only actually are earning 542,000 per week. But anyways, and then further on, one should perhaps spend a little bit more money on bumping up our clothing factory here. But this is expensive, an entire million, I don't know. But of course it is mission crucial. Let's see if there are demands for it. Production per week, yeah, okay, well, okay, I think we're going to bump it up a little bit. Let's see if there are any competitors. Yes, there is one in Baker City, but then to have this brought down and redistributed as soon as possible. We see now that I've turned off all of the deliveries here, because our previous mission objective was to deliver them to Sacramento, and then I didn't want anybody else to pick up that clothing and just kind of pile up clothing here in Gold Beach, and make sure that I have a special delivery train here. This Gold Beach Sacramento West. This was the only one that were allowed to bring clothing down to Sacramento. So it's important to pay heed to this mission objectives, and that the goods that are needed to deliver to one place in particular doesn't disappear or being eaten up on the way. This can also be done by manual loading, but I'm not really into manual loading, and if I were to set up manual loading, I think it would be impossible to make videos. They will bog down into so many details. So rather just go for automatic express or perhaps freight setting, and then turn on and off some of these few goods that are on the general lines, and then make sure to have specially dedicated lines that do the mission objectives. And now, after a little bit more than 2 years of gameplay, we've finally been able to complete the entire Oregon zone here. Really huge zone, going from Redding, Gold Beach, Eugene, Portland, Baker, Nampa, and all the way down to Winnemucca, connecting on to the Nevada zone here. See that we also added upon this Idaho line that goes up to, see how far that goes, reaches all the way to Portland, kind of a long stretch, but still very functional. Might seem that I have done something. Oh, this is one of those typical mistakes. I have placed 2 lines on one set of tracks. So what one will do then is to go in here. Might be a good thing to show this. Let's say this is where it's going to leave its first station at Portland, and then in order to avoid some of those buggy tendencies that happen sometimes, I also put up, and I'm sure that this is going to absolutely do the trick, but at each endpoint here, and that was Idaho Fall, is going to leave here from Idaho. We see that there are no mistakes now. And now we have the mix going on the outermost line, and then the fastest, shortest line is reserved for passenger mails, passenger traffic, express traffic only. And we can see that all of our zones and lines now, including the Oregon zone here, has both mixed and passenger lines. Passenger lines being on the outermost part of the circles. And then same with the Nevada zone, 4 lines here as well. And then there is this little line here, an extra nice particularly feeding body, Boat is still coming on strong, 93% fulfillment on demand, growing maniacally. Some of those more advanced industrial goods are a little bit hard, but as long as it gets all its basics, and that is some of the more advanced industrial goods, it will keep on growing very nice. And of course, there will be a library. Remembering to build these libraries as soon as possible. And then Carson, being is in this junction between Nevada and the Californian crosshair. Stewart Hotel, I think that is just running better and better. And then also now we have this extra line to Redding, so that's also Winnemucca through being a junction between the Oregon zone and the Nevada zone is growing particularly well. See that 82% demand. As long as there are 2 arrows, that's absolutely fantastic. Some of our old cities, unfortunately, they have sort of been stagnating due to them being so far out on the edge of the map. Much more growth there in the middle, actually. Built upon a little bit extra here around San Francisco. Now San Francisco, there was so much traffic here now, so then I turned off that wool resource that used to be going through there now. San Francisco, the weavery here has grown quite a bit and has need for its own dedicated wool transport. But then both of them didn't need to go all the way down to this fruit here. So then I made Sawyer here into a warehouse where only this line goes from Sacramento goes to the all the way to the fruit, while the fruit is also being left here in case there are need for fruit in San Francisco. Don't double up these lines unless there is need for it. But then I noticed that there was a little bit of a problem here. As you can see, it's almost hard to notice, but when it's really careful, really important to notice that there is a little warning triangle here. And see what's happening. It's the sugar, yeah. Sugar is a thing on this map. There is only one sugar resource, and we bought that up because it's so crucial. Going to produce all this liquor and see what's happening with the sugar now. Where is it bugging? It's certainly not interflicting with any other sugar resources because there is only one on the entire map. But there must be somewhere along the line here where the sugar is waiting to come down to San Francisco. See, San Francisco has very little. Might it be here in Carson? Let's have a look here and see if sugar is piling up. No, it's not piling up there. Not piling up here either. Sacramento then, might it be piling up here? No. Here it is piling up. And that is due to too little traffic. I must have done some update or something here so that there aren't enough. Oh, here I've done it again. That's the problem. I just haven't. They're all going in the same line, and this is one of those things that really cost you. And I haven't put up the signaling either. Well, let's see how we can fix this. Having the signals, just copying the signals like this, so that the signals are going in the same direction. Might play it a little bit, and then move the not express line onto here. And I'm sure that if I just do this, I could have put a waypoint up at each and every one after these stations. You can see this is the let's call it the West Coast Express line that meets up here with the Idaho line here, but I split them and I given them two separate stations. So now we can put that up there, and then that's just immediately after Portland. So this should be, yes, that should do fine. And now I will certainly take care of that. Now there wouldn't be those delays that comes from having two lines, too many trains on one track. But I just recently did this, and sometimes I do a little bit of mistakes. But I think one learns from the mistakes. So if I do a mistake and then correct it, everybody can see how not to do it. And there is a lot of super smart things that one can do in this game, but the most important thing perhaps is to avoid those dumb mistakes that cost you a lot of points. But now we have reached the 50s, and now somewhere we are still using this Derwent, because if there aren't need for any more, then the Derwent will do fine if the trains are waiting. But other than that, the Tyson 10-wheeler is an absolutely fantastic train, and I use it both for mixed and for passengers. And for this special delivery here, Carson now being a producer of liquor, we can see that this goes up and down the utilization, and that's due to it's really hard to produce liquor because one needs both sugar, which is scarce, and one also need the fruit. So here we can see it has stopped producing due to lack of fruit, but then fruit is coming in from two sides, I think, both from Sacramento and through Elko, but then also being eaten up along the way. So and Elko also being a producer of liquor, so that Elko sort of takes care of most of the needs in the Nevada zone, while Carson is in Carson. I often make it so that I inhibit other trains from picking up the fruit. See if I have done that here. Carson. No, I haven't, because I produce so much liquor anyways, so that there is enough for everybody almost. But then still have make sure that the city that's producing those goods that are particularly needed for a mission objective, that those are not being eaten up by any others. Turn that off, perhaps. Doing it like this. And then as soon as the export warehouse have filled up properly, one can put up an extra train and let that roll into the city in question. So since our mission objective was to deliver 20 loads, and 20 loads is actually kind of a lot, to Sacramento, then Carson being my chosen city, not too far away from the sugar, which I have bumped up a lot. Yes, almost all the way, filled with sugar. You see, now the problem is not so much having enough resources, but having enough trains in order to deliver and pick up all of the resources and the passengers to make us money, making a decent amount of money now, over $1 million a week. So, but still, then most of these stations now, they are becoming really full, and it's sort of hard to build more tracks without being crisscrossing too much. But let's check with our mission objectives. We bought the rural business Marshall Mine way in advance, before we even connected to it, because it becomes much more expensive as its utilization is becoming more and more. So we buy it before it be connected. And then 11 different goods at Bodhi. That wasn't so hard either. Bodhi now having 2 full stations there. 1 to Sacramento, 1 to Reading, and 1 more to Sacramento here, and then also having this being part of the Nevada Circle, 4 lanes there, and then also having this extra in order to really grow. Bought up both the salt and the milk down here to ensure that Bodhi has extra, and also being extra connected to Carson City so that it gets even liquor as well, to make for a really explosive growth there. Pointing out that there would be hotels at all of these places, 4 and 4, 4 lanes for each system, and then hotel in the middle, so one can see that they are all coming on really nicely. This makes for a lot of money to have extra hotels, have faster passenger deliveries. Passengers pay more for a quicker ride, so then to have that option for the computer to make for particularly fast and efficient routes and picking up all the passengers, that is one of the things that are really comes in handy when money-wise, at least. Not so much to do with the actual mission objectives, but for money, that is absolutely fantastic. So let's see now. Yes, that's one way of satisfying the citizens of Sacramento. Pouring on liquor. I'm not sure if that's the most ethical thing to do, but at least it seems to have an effect. One can then go here and look at our next set of mission objectives. Now gold, and even more gold. So then it's very good that we have bought up this this gold mine in the middle, which is now only connected to Winnemucca here, the warehouse here that picks up the gold. And I haven't really bumped it up so much either, but now I'm certainly going to bump that up further and make sure that the gold is reaching both Gold Beach and San Francisco. One thing to point out is that we cannot build any libraries or even universities here because there is the gold shipping warehouse that is taking up the space that we otherwise could use for having additional buildings. So that means that San Francisco is actually declining now. I don't really like that. If I put up an library, then the decline would be much less. But it seems to that there is a lot to do, and we will come back to how to distribute that gold in a minute. And then by October, looking at our mission objectives first, we see that we are almost been able to deliver all of the gold and achieving 6 cities with 90,000 citizens or more. That's really no problem. If one just connects this zone and connects the cities to several other zones, and then to have these cities in between, that comes on just like a dream. Looking more at the flow of gold and the flow of goods in general now. The balance of 700,000 per week, absolutely no problem. We are now earning 2.3 million per week, and we can hardly find ways to spend all that money. And then bumping up our clothing industry and have more and more fashion and jeans and such for the gold miners. Lagging a little bit behind with the citizens in Bodhi. To grow that into 120,000 is through challenge of this this mission, but that will come on also very, very fast. so let's see how we did this. First of all, made for this Utah circle here. Wasn't really a mission objective as such, but it certainly made for good growth in Elko. So that's one of those really big cities that have more than 90,000 citizens. Made for a proper 4-lane system here as well. When I got the money, when things are starting to roll in, I just build them right away. And then I've actually been seems to have been using the Dragon more and more now for mixed transportation. The Dragon, I think, being an even more modern train than the Tyson 10-wheeler. And one can see the Tyson 10-wheeler is a bit faster, but the Dragon, finally, to have one train with a really proper tractive power, because it doesn't matter how much of a maximum speed one has. If these are going up and down these lines here, which they are, then they can come into sort of a grinding halt. So as soon as I reach the Dragon, I would use the Dragon, the freight train, for mixed transportation, and the Tyson 10-wheeler, the mixed train, for express passenger only trains. So then the Utah circle here, we had the Idaho line going to Portland, and also from split there in Portland. Portland is a transition city, and then there was the West Coast line, Oregon circle here. We started out with, and then Nevada circle, and then the Californian cross here is going down to Sacramento, and also to Redding. And in addition to that, I really expanded upon Marshall Mine. I thought that should be, being the gold rush mission. I find it, nice to have this cross there. So now there is actually not only being dug up gold, but there is also a very nice hotel, a very, very busy hotel. Everybody wants to come here and stay over for the weekend, night, week, month, and dig for gold, or just watch the gold miners go back and forth, and then to change trains and go to every corner of the Nevada circle. Looking at how we been able to do. Scenario complete. Fantastic. They just can't get enough of the gold, and city's getting richer and richer, and I cannot get enough gold either. And this time I really made for a great score, 800,000. That's I'm really proud of myself. And we can see on the high score list that we made for place number 37. In order to be on the absolute top 10, one needs to do this manual loading thing, and that just is too much of a hassle for me. But if anybody has some other ideas and such, I'm very happy if one leaves a comment about how to do this better. And we still haven't completed our optional task of growing Bodhi, but that will also come on very nice, very, very soon. Also added upon this little extra line here, San Francisco. So that San Francisco is now, that used to be declining, and then, but now it is at least growing really nice. But then it can't grow any further because I can't build a university, neither in San Francisco or in Gold Beach, due to the shipping depot being there. I find that a little bit awkward. Why can't one both have a shipping depot and a university? I mean, Gold Beach and San Francisco being some of kind of the main cities there, of course they should have a university, but all right. Nevertheless, have a look at the flow of goods, the most important thing of the game in many ways. Flow of goods, and then also flow of passengers. But it isn't so easy to see with the flow of passengers like this. I'd rather not use the flow of goods chart for passengers, and then because it becomes so many arrows for flow of passengers, I rather go through city by city and see that, oh, there we had the optional task as well, and see that they're all connected. We can see on this line for times that if there are time here, there are numbers on this first row of numbers, then the cities are connected either via or directly. And one can see now that with this setup, I think that I managed to make all the passengers and all the express goods have destinations. Of course, the faster the destination is, the more we earn. But the most important thing is to have some way of for them to go by train and visit other relatives and friends in each of the different cities. Someone has to sort of go through this and make sure that none of the distances are more than twice. None of the distances by train are more than twice the distance, more than twice the air distance. So then all is taken care of like this, and then wheat is very, I think, evenly distributed. So there isn't any need for warehouses. Everybody's been taken care of by their own. All the circles, all the zones, all the lines, they have wheat onto them. Not so many resources in the early game, so it's easier to show how this is working. Sacramento is not a transit, it only picks up the corn. One can also see now the percentage of fulfillment with corn, pretty much 100 all over, that everybody is getting all they need when it comes to corn. At least here, extra docking station for salt, corn and vegetables in Baker City. And then they're building a warehouse here that mirrors the warehouse in Baker, like this, and then they just bounce from one warehouse to another. Same with Portland. So the Oregon Circle, they have 2 corns. Extra nice to have 2. And then this is one of those little dumb things for the game. It's hard to see that there is a warehouse there, but certainly there is a warehouse in this Nolan station, a warehouse and a hotel that connects the Utah Circle with the Nevada Circle. So that's pretty much corn. An hotel up here as well, of course, a very busy hotel. Lumber, evenly, nicely distributed. One here in Carson, even though there are corn here already in California, it's always nice to have access from 2 different places, and consider there's more than enough corn left. It produces 17 wagons per week, and it has filled up its capacity to the max. But that's due to all of the cities, pretty much. Here there is too little. There just isn't any way of, even though there are corn, lumber more or less immediately next to Eugene and Gold Beach, there is so much traffic now on this huge circle that I should have perhaps built a cross in the middle to alleviate some of the pressure on those trains. But then it's hard to build anything here in the middle because of all of the mountains. But now I have all the money that I need, so I could have built a fantastic tunnel or something. But then we are at the end of the mission anyways. Meat is also very neatly distributed all over the map, and nice map in many ways. There's not too big. There are some mountains and inclines and such, but as long as one very careful when one is building to watch for these contour lines and see how the train can move smoothly around here. It can have, if you can climb, the trains can easily go up a mountainside, as long as it doesn't go too fast. If they're better to lay the tracks a little bit more longer, as long as the trains do not come down to a more or less grinding halt due to the high incline. So incline is more important than the length. And then with the only sugar resource that I've bumped up to the absolute max, which are now being distributed all over the map through several warehouses, one in Elko, Carson, Reading, and all over like this, being very central so that it feeds most of the cities, except for the ones that are sort of left behind here in Oregon. But then it's a tendency of sort of forgetting the old cities and rather focus on the new projects where the mission objectives often are. And then with cloth very nicely and evenly distributed all over the map. And all the factories are close to wool resources so that they have more or less immediate access. Here is two weaveries that are both getting their wool from the same resource, but I think that's okay. That means that this wool resource, even if I haven't bought it up, it dumps itself up enormously because it is supply it's needed in both weaveries. Milk, it's a lot of milk in this map, lots more milk than there is sugar at least. So this one is serving the California split there and the Nevada zone. One here over in Idaho, see where that is going, supplying both the Idaho line and then the Oregon. And then I think there's one down here, yes, in California, which takes care of California and also goes up and sort of doubles supplies, half the Oregon. But that is on the not supplying. It seems like it's going in here, but it's not. The supply is coming here on the outer part here on the West Coast Express line. Vegetables, only one business with vegetables, and then you have to zoom all the way in to sort of get hold of these resources. But since all of this is going into Baker City, it's much easier to just select the warehouse in Baker City and see how these vegetables now are being distributed all over. Needs several warehouses, but there are this same with the Muka. That is a transit warehouse between the Oregon and the Nevada circle and further on to Carson. And then to Reading, so it's sort of sometimes a double up these warehouses, because even though the arrows only show sort of one direction, the game might use every possible way. So even though the lines aren't shown like that, they can still be used. Don't push up a little extra warehouse here and there, and there are several lines. This one supplying Utah and Nevada, and then we had this old one here. No need to bump that up because it has bumped itself up. So this is old resources, and then it's no need to do anything there. This is when I connect to a new resource later in the game. That's when I buy them up, because or else it will take too long for them to reach a proper size. And now this one, it's following the Western Coast Express, while this one, you can see that there is no warehouse here on the West Coast Express. So then this resource here, the same with the corn and the fruit, it jumps from this warehouse here and onto this warehouse that is on the Nevada, on the Idaho line, and also on the Oregon circle. So one can see that this resource here, this fruit, this southern fruit, does not interflect with the northern fruit. But if I had put up a warehouse here in the middle, trying to sort of make for extra double up, that would make for a horrible mess, and we cannot have that. Now things are becoming really messy with they sort of competing with each other and trying to supply the same cities on the same route, and that wouldn't do. I don't think we have any warehouses for fashion yet. Fashion just kind of pops up naturally, lots of fashion, having surplus production. And most of these fashion factories, the best fashion factories, are in the cities that also have weaveries. Makes absolutely certain that the fashion are running. Then we don't get any money from delivering cloth to a fashion factory that's in the same city as the weavery. But that wouldn't matter so much. The most important thing is to have this the factories running and to have the cities growing. Planks as well, same story. Liquor. Now actually I put up a warehouse here for liquor. Both of the liquor factories, distilleries, are on the Nevada zone, being closest to the one only sugar resource. But one can see now that they are all supplying this Oregon zone. Could I put up one here in Elko as well, if there are room for it? Yes, there are more than enough room for including liquor to go down to Utah as well. But then there aren't any demand here yet, so we can do that later, or we can do that now. It really wouldn't matter. Dairy products, there should be close to milk resources. A lot of milk on this map. Have 3 of these. So, and all close to the. So we have 3 milk resources and 3 dairy cheese factories close to them. Salt, 2 salts, one here that connects to docking station in Baker City. Takes care of Oregon. And one here down south that takes care of West Coast line, and then the Nevada zone. Haven't really started worrying about Utah yet because they are sort of lagging behind. Coal, we're just going to skip that. Number of businesses, we have, this should be close to planks, and they are. Either in the same city or very close by. Very close by can actually be the best, because then one earns a little bit from bringing the freight into the cities. One clay here in Winnemucca. We only have 1 coal and 1. We have 2 of these clay resources somewhere on the map. It's going to be really hard to utilize this one, but there are enough coal for 2 of these. Ceramics factory needs half the amount of coal as it needs clay, so then there would be enough for 2 ceramics factories, but one will do it, or else I have to bring the coal over here, and perhaps later on when Salt Lake grows, or say perhaps Elko. No, Elko has already filled up with 3, but perhaps in Salt Lake, if I were to bring all this coal over there, certainly got the money for it now. Paper is also one of those things that come in very handy later. Have them spread around a bit so that they can serve different zones, different parts of the map. One here in Nevada, which also serves the Utah circle, and then one up here that is trying to supply the Oregon and also the West Coast line, and that should of course be very close to lumber, both of them. Let's see, where are the lumber here? It doesn't get this number from all the way down there, but it has access to 2 numbers. So I think that will be doing okay. Go in here and see that the factories actually are running, that it has access to, well, 38 loads of lumber coming in. It seems to be going really great. Don't have any chemicals, haven't started up any steel industry, no tools, but the gold being particularly important. I set up all of these warehouses to make sure that there will be no interflection, because there are only one gold resource. So then one can put up as many warehouses as one like. One here in Carson, Sacramento, and San Francisco. There are no direct lines. It would be really hard to build a direct line from Marshall Mine down to San Francisco, and one from Marshall Mine to Gold Beach. But then to rely on these warehouses and to become comfortable with using warehouses and see that this is going well, and that we have this opportunity to be delivering using our existing infrastructure. Quick look at how the trains are doing. Very multicolored rainbow map here now. Lots of trains that are becoming red, but still gold is being prioritized before passengers. And if one is really worrying, one can turn off some of these passenger express lines. Wonder if I perhaps did that, this one being one of those mixed lines. And the innermost usually should be for passengers. If one is worrying that the goods aren't being transported, one can always turn this back, and then of course remember to turn off these special wagons, and then there will be more than enough room for all the goods that are needed to be transported. You see now I have a bit body, why it's growing so well. 4 lanes coming in there, 3 lanes there, and then 2 lanes extra from the cross in the middle. But anyways, I think that pretty much sums it all up. One can feel free to like and subscribe, and leave some comments, and then I will just say goodbye and enjoy the game, have fun, and I hope to see you next time around. Goodbye.